quick as we can so that you can go out and spend a lot of money and help the Ashland Day Committee pay for the pavilion that we're all standing under. The building is not yet totally paid for, and they are planning on the various activities today to finish paying off all their obligations. There was an awful lot of materials and work donated. We do want to recognize those people later on in the ceremonies here. We will recognize those people a little later on in the ceremonies. What I want to do first of all is to introduce a few people that are sitting up here behind the ribbon. We're going to start over here with Beverly Paris, who is one of the organizers of Ashland Day and in charge of the publicity and numerous other things. Of course, Harry Marchetti, he doesn't need much in the way of an introduction. Get up and take a bow. Seated right here also is Carl Fuji, who's the new town clerk for the town of Ashland. And also sitting here is Ashland's own koala bear, Uncle Ben Montenegro. Ben is Ben, of course, is chairman of the Ashland Day Committee. I want to now introduce the Board of Selectmen. I will leave the chairman till last so he can get up and say a couple of words. Standing over in the back, of course, is Bob Rydell. Hiding and sitting right next to him is Rick Galani. Rick, of course, was the chairman of the Pavilion Building Committee. Did a magnificent job. Seated in front of Rick is Ashland's youngest and newest member of the Board of Selectmen, Fred Winsman. And of course, one of the older members of the board. Seated next to Fred, of course, is Ed Bates. Seated right behind Ed, of course, is Representative Dave Magnani and his son Michael. I will introduce the lovely lady sitting next to him in just a few moments. But seated next to the lovely lady is David's father, Louis Magnani. And I don't know how he did it, but he marched in that parade and he went faster than I ever could have. I'm going to give a quick opportunity for Arnold Baker, Chairman of the Board of Selectmen, to say a few words.
Thank you, Larry. Ladies and gentlemen, and dignitaries behind the ribbon here, you all are dignitaries. I'm honored to be here today and honored talking to this group. I have to look at this occasion as like a pyramid. You have some tremendous people at the top, and if I mention 4 or 5 names, I don't want you to take offense that I didn't mention yours, you can't mention everybody. Contribute to success by a top, a middle, and a bottom, with no discrimination. At the top we have Benny Montenegro, who's done a great job 2 years in a row. Without a program, you have media. That Paris has come along and done a great job. I think the other 2 names that I want to quickly mention are Officer number one in seniority in the Ashland Police, very loyal to the town, police, and all his dedication to the VFW and Ashland Day is Harry Marchetti. And last but not least, and again, there are many more, and all the names I believe that have worked in this pavilion are enshrined in came into the arena that he's in as a neophyte. He's made one fine, positive contribution by his labor and untiring effort, and I'm proud to say he's one of our board members, and we have very distinguished members of the board, going from the very young to the I don't consider that one of the older members age-wise. I'm so old age-wise, Bobby Rigel, but Ricky Galani is, well, he's probably the citizen of the year, of the century, of the decade, but he's done one great job. And Ricky, on behalf of myself and all my police and the Board of Selectmen and County Ashland, I want to thank you for one great effort. And you went by here morning, afternoon, and evening. He was here working in the pavilion with all the names you see around. So I feel very humbled to be here today, and I want to thank you all very much for attending, to be in the spirit of Ashland Day. The weather should not be a deterrent. It hasn't been. And thank you for attending and supporting. But I want to credit everybody up here and everybody that made a contribution, and there are far too many. It's a great day. Benny, you did a great thing 2 years ago on behalf of the Ashland Baseball Lighting Committee. It's a little ad lib, but we thank you for the $10,000 donation to our cause and any causes for the future. And hopefully the lights will be in this year, so we and the youth of America and Ashland can enjoy the program next year. Thanks very much from the bottom of my heart, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Arnold. Now I'm going to ask David Magnani, who's a native Ashlandite who abandoned the town and moved to rich Framingham, but we won't hold that against him. We're going to let David Magnani get up and give us a few words.
Thanks, Larry. You know, Larry said that I was going to have a chance to say a few words, and I thought that what a wonderful opportunity to share with you a story that I've really never told anyone. But I'd like to today, after many years of thinking about it. As Larry said, I grew up here. I remember coming down to the park here when I was 7 or 8 years old, when we had park programs and baseball programs, and thinking what a great place to live in Ashland. I didn't know there was any other town in the United States. There was Ashland and there was the United States of America, and that was it. And I feel that way again, by the way, today. But as I grew up, went to school, went to West Africa and the Peace Corps, and as far as I was concerned, the only country in the world was the United States. I got to Africa and I was very concerned about the way people were treating Africans and the way our own country, frankly, was treating poor countries of the world, and I came back very concerned because I knew that if the people of Ashland knew what was happening in these other countries, they would certainly stand up. And I began to understand that part of the problem was that we were becoming isolated ourselves. We were becoming insulated ourselves in our own homes, in our own communities. We were thinking primarily about how we were going to make it as individuals. So I got together with some other folks who were committed in Ashland. We started this Ashland Educational Community Center to begin to break down that attitude and to begin to build a sense of community. And we did pretty well for a while, and things began to trail off, and I had this tremendous vision that someday Ashland would really come together as a community and begin to get in touch with the brotherhood and sisterhood that really makes up a community and makes it more than a group of individuals. I have a tremendously deep feeling about what's here today, because I honestly believe that today reflects what America's all about, what this community is all about, what I've always felt Ashland is about. A sense of community, a sense that people really do care about one another. And without embarrassment, a sense that people really do love one another. A word that we don't use very often in public. That's what makes me so proud, so literally proud, to be a native of Ashland. I think folks who are here today show that commitment, about being proud of Ashland and being members of a community and not just residents of a town. I think the leadership of this town has a right to be proud of itself, in spite of some of the coverage that they've received in the past. But more importantly, I think the residents and members of this community have a right to be proud of themselves for what this pavilion and this day and this entire event represents. I would like to take the opportunity to ask you to give yourselves a tremendous round of applause on behalf of yourselves and behalf of the entire community of Ashland. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Let me check my notes here. State Representative Barbara Gardner marched in the parade and got soaking wet. Barbara unfortunately had a date, if you will, in Medfield. She also represents Medfield as well as Ashland, and today happens to be Medfield Day, and Barbara spent the toughest time of the morning with us. She's over there now, and she wanted to thank the town for allowing her to be part of it, and she reminds us that she is there to help the town whenever it's necessary. The same is true for our state representative, Ed Burke. He marched in the parade. He got soaking wet, and Ed had another engagement also. But they do both send to the town of Ashland their best wishes for a successful day. Right now, I'm going to introduce two young ladies here, both of which are freezing, and they want to get to warmer climate. I would like to introduce Miss Teenage Ashland, and that is Shannon Shurik. Would you stand up, please? And a member of the Queen's Court, if you will, Francis Maxime. Would you get up, please? No offense to the girls when I was going into school, but we didn't have many that looked like that. Right now, I want to introduce Nancy Hauser. Nancy chaired the committee who chose the winning entry for the naming of the pavilion. Nancy, would you come up and give us a little background on that? We'd appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I'm sure many of you will remember that over the last few months in the newspaper, we have been advertising the Mission Possible, which was a write-in campaign to get the name for the new pavilion. This was sponsored by the media group. We had quite a lot of excellent names, and it was not easy coming up with one. However, we did. Is Mrs. Alice Rakunis here, please? Mrs. Alice Rakunis picked the winning name, and I will let her tell you what the name of the new pavilion is going to be.
Very proud to name this the Ashland Community Pavilion.
Also, I would like to know if there's a young man here by the name of Jeff Sawin. Jeff, would you like to come up here for a moment, please? Jeffrey is getting an honorable mention for a name for the pavilion, and I'll let Jeff tell you what the name was that he picked.
Stony Stand.
Thank you, Jeff. Hopefully in the next few weeks or month or so, a new sign will be ready. It is being carved. It is being done by Paul McIntosh, a wood carver here in town, who, as I'm sure you all know, did the wood carving of the town hall sign. And it will be placed on this pavilion, and I'm sure we'll have another nice ceremony for when that the new sign goes up. Thank you very much.
you, Nancy. I failed to mention that Nancy, in addition to working on the choosing of the name committee, Nancy's also a member of the Ashland Day Parade Committee. That was an outstanding parade. Now we have kind of a special presentation. We had a neighborhood in town that wanted to do something a little different for Ashland Day. They wanted to get involved, and yet they weren't sure how they were going to do it. They discussed a number of things. They started by having a neighborhood coffee. Few people will know the name of the development. You might recognize some of the street names, but it's a small development off of Winter Street, which was originally called Winter Woods. Winter Woods consists of three lovely little streets, one being Rockwood, another one being Parkhurst, and another one being Shepherd Lane. The neighborhood wanted to do something. Again, they started with coffee at each other's houses, and the person who led the charge initially on this project was Linda Thomas. Linda Thomas, between the time they started this program and today, the Thomases, unfortunately for Ashland and lucky for Southborough, the Thomases have moved to Southborough. So the project then was picked up, if you will, by Karen Sakakini. I have trouble with that name every time. So Karen led the charge at that point and enlisted all kinds of assistance from the children in the neighborhood. And the children, I won't tell you what the item is quite yet, but the children are carrying it. They got a permanent gift to the town that I want to have Arnold Baker, Chairman of the Board of Selectmen, to come up and accept the gift on the part of the town. Come on up here, Arnold. I'm going to read the children's names, and they have a whole bunch of boxes here. And when I read your name, you can just get up and give a box to Mr. Baker. Now I'm going to tell you what it contains. The children have 12 boxes. They have 12 boxes of flower bulbs, which are tulips and daffodils. And they are giving this to the town so that the Cemetery Park and Tree Commission can beautify the town, and it'll come back to life year in and year out. Sheila Laughlin. Jonathan Laughlin. David Locke. Corey Sakakini. Jared Sakakini. Jimmy Tessier. Kevin Tessier. Katie Foley. Okay, Katie's not here. Christopher Taco. Stephen Taco. Laura Connaughton. And the last one, Michael Connaughton. Oh, Lindsay Tessier. Now, why don't all you generous children turn around and look at the TV camera so you can see yourself on TV in the next 2 weeks. Give a big wave, guys. On behalf of everyone here, I sincerely want to thank all of the people that went to awards for going to such an effort. Thank you very much. It's a unique idea. I'm going to look forward to watching them bud next summer. Winter is not one of my favorite seasons, and I do like to see the tulips and daffodils. Okay, right now I think we're going to move right on to the ribbon cutting ceremony. If we can have the Board of Selectmen kind of gather around. We have 5 selectmen and 1 pair of scissors, so we're going to start with Rick and move through it on. Ed Bates. Fred Winsman. And Chairman of the Board, Arnold Baker. Okay, now if I can have Rick Kalani come over here. What we're going to do now, we want the various people that are here who work their brains out trying to put this pavilion up. We have a couple gifts for them, and I'll show you one. We have citations for the various helpers, and there are quite a lot of them. Bear with us, and I'd like you to give them all a round of applause at the end. We have an award which pictures the pavilion.